Hello all of you beautiful people, Jules here for WhatCulture.com, and who doesn't love a good twist in their video games? We all remember where we were when the Would You Kindly came about in Bioshock. My plums were twisted, my friend. But still, sometimes a game can reach too far and turn an incredibly smart twist into an incredibly dumb one. Oh dear. So let's take a look at them. As I'm Jules, this is WhatCulture.com, and these are 8 smart video games with incredibly dumb twists. Number 8, Fallout 3. He's literally standing next to me. So here's a riddle. When is heroically sacrificing yourself by entering a fatally irradiated water purifier actually just a really stupid, pointless death that could have been easily avoided if Fallout 3's writers had communicated with each other at all during development? Oh god, that's a long one. And here's the answer. When you have a huge slab of green beef buddy standing right next to you who huffs up radiation like it's the sweet fumes of a lightly toasted marshmallow, and is entirely capable of moseying into the purifier, flicking a switch, then lying down for a 15-minute power nap before leaving without even the slightest throat tickle. In Bethesda's defense, the free Broken Steel DLC did fix this issue, but in Bethesda's non-defense, hindsight has taught us that the themes and lore of Fallout mean about as much to them as customer loyalty, as in, not at all. Number 7, Metal Gear Solid 2, Rogue AI. So if you think that I'm going to be talking about the reveal that this pretty boy here is the protagonist this time around and not everyone's favourite Solid Snake, then congratulations, you're wrong. Because actually this reveal was a pretty good stroke of genius, and actually fits into Metal Gear Solid 2's wider themes and deconstruction of the very concept of sequels themselves, and was actually an example of some top quality commercial trolling besides. No, instead what we're going to talk about is the other dumb twist in Metal Gear Solid 2, where Colonel Roy Campbell starts malfunctioning, hinting that you've been communicating with an AI the entire time. Now don't get me wrong, this is a very infamous moment and a lot of fans really enjoy this, but look at it in the string of the narrative itself. And you'll see here that this reveal comes way too early and actually removes some of the weight of the final moments of this game. It plays this trump card too early and causes the upcoming reveal regarding the Solid Snake simulation to have much less weight. Now, Kojima is a treasure, but these twists within twists can sometimes cause the minor ones to dull the major, and this was one such occasion. Otherwise, though, fantastic game. Number 6, Devil May Cry 5. Questionable wordplay. Devil May Cry 5 was a smart game, not because it had a cerebral story or like anything even vaguely interesting level design-wise, but because it knew exactly what fans wanted, and because its dozens of interweaving combos displayed a geode-like glittering complexity. People occasionally describe Platinum-style character action and combat as like combat ballet, but I feel that Devil May Cry 5 is like a riotous barn dance of unself-conscious, comically slick abandon with some dope cowboy hats. But the game does have one reveal that is a little bit and that's where the reveal that the demon that you've been fighting is actually Dante's rival sibling Virgil. And it basically comes with this line to the effect of, "This is your reason for fighting. He is your reason for fighting." Do you get it? Your reason? Your reason? Your reason? Now this is the thing, I love a good pun, but this is Christmas cracker joke bad, and makes a very cringe-worthy moment out of an otherwise chaotically and beautiful fighting game. Number 5, Final Fantasy X plot compression. Many internet lists will tell you that Final Fantasy X contains the worst twists in the series, citing the revelation that the entire plot was indeed a dream. And true, that is pretty lazy, I'm not gonna lie. But you know what? I'm going to stand up to this game's defense now and say that actually never happened. That was actually down to a bad translation, or at least partly. Because if you dig a little deeper into this game and look at what was originally intended, then Tidus, or Tidus, depending on how you want to pronounce it, was actually a summon similar to the Aeons. It's a bit complicated to say the least, but still, if you look it up, it does actually make a lot of sense. So with this in mind, Final Fantasy X actually takes the crown for the series' dumbest twist, when it's revealed that all of the central characters actually grew up together at the same orphanage, but forgot because they have a bad case of amnesia apparently. And this is a very tired plot device, but the real problem here is how it shrinks the story's scope. The potential richness offered by 6 individual backstories and how all just smushed together into a single, chokingly plot-driven revelation. And the scale of the whole thing is fed through a narrative can crusher as a result, and things just feel a little less epic. Boo. Number 4, Doom Eternal. Literally any storytelling whatsoever. Now I know it's going to sound like I'm about to complain about this game, but let me just state this for the record. I absolutely adore Doom as a franchise, its 2016 reboot, and of course Doom Eternal, because that just dialed things up to the 10s. But still, there is one bit about Doom Eternal that does stick in my craw a little bit, and that is the fact that it actually tries to tell a story. Because at the end of the day, do we really need one? Doom 2016 had little in the way of story interruptions and displayed a fourth wall-breaking Verhoeven-esque glee in showing the Doomslayer basically ignoring the story over his own impatient bloodlust. Now that's not to say the game didn't have lore or world building, and actually very interesting lore and world building at that, but the plot was actually left as a refreshing optional thing. Doom Eternal, however, pulled perhaps the biggest storytelling twist of 2020 by assuming that actually anyone cared about the story in a Doom game. It was a shocker for sure, although not an especially welcome one. Now it is an incredibly confident and smart game made better by the designer's refusal to sit on their laurels and mix things up in the gameplay department, and they could have just made the sequel exactly the same and fans probably would have lapped it up, but they wanted it to be better so they tried to change things. But this is the problem, any exposition longer than a Metal Vinyl's tracklist is painfully superfluous when you're considering what you're doing. I don't care who I'm fighting, just let me rip and tear, baby. Number 3, Mass Effect 3, No Time to Explain. Now, is this one considered low-hanging fruit? Yeah, absolutely, but then again, low-hanging fruit is still delicious though. So let's talk about why Mass Effect 3's hologram child was hot garbo juice. You can only imagine what was going on in the boardroom when this came about. Right, lads, how are we going to end this game? Should we have something epic, a real game changer, something that will leave the player stunned and shocked? No, should we just go for a sci-fi monologue? Yeah, okay, cool, we'll go for that then. Very little of Mass Effect's depth or appeal ever arose from the larger philosophical questions about the purpose of its universe. Nearly everything good about the series was about the personal struggles of its fantastic characters and the political tension between its many species. And the twist at the very end of this entire trilogy acknowledges precisely none of that. Now, Citadel was a great DLC and went a long way towards fixing things, but still, for a long old time, this was just a big slap in the nuts. Number 2, Fire Emblem 3 Houses. An edgelord is always going to be an edgelord. Hey, so you know Edelgard? The character we've given several monologues about gaining power and she's not really feeling the whole church thing and also is slattered with proto-fascist imagery at all opportunities? Well, guess what, guys? She's sort of planning something. Yeah, thanks, 3 Houses. I kind of got that. Now, to 3 Houses' credit, the game is quite successful in presenting different sides of a conflict without defining any one side as actually especially evil. Unfortunately, it does that by cutting out several important reveals, depending on which side you ally with. And this character's breakup with the church stays consistent, but the circumstances around it actually don't. This is all further complicated by 3 Houses' frustratingly incomplete story arcs that only give you a whole picture after you piece together divergent timelines that contradict one another. Ultimately, the story ends up with being a bit of a mess no matter which route you chose, but you know what, it's still a great RPG despite all of this. And number 1, Yakuza Zero, hey mister, that's my sister. In nearly all the ways that count, Yakuza Zero is a masterclass in video game storytelling. The life sim / brawler / RPG hybrid exhibits a butler-like dedication to make the player happy at all times. But this butler is also a clown, a bit of a jester when you think about it, and also a master storyteller, and also maybe your dad? It's a very confusing game to say the least. The game has so much unshakable confidence in its ability to keep the player emotionally invested that it isn't actually afraid to gleefully headbutt the boundaries of realism in its missions that keep the players smiling. Ultimately, it realizes that characters that never have fun aren't really full characters. Not that it isn't afraid to get especially dark at times either, with a central arc including human trafficking, racism and sex slavery. But just as it's unpacking these ideas though, it drops another reveal. The reveal that Makoto is Tachibana's sister is squeezed in between several equally huge plot revelations, and basically given no time to breathe as a result. While Yakuza Zero and Restraint aren't exactly words that you find together, I feel that this one could have been parcelled out a little more elegantly. And there we go, my friends, those were 8 smart video games with incredibly dumb twists. I hope that you enjoyed that, and please let me know what you thought about it down in the comments section below. As always, I've been Jules. You can go follow me over on Twitter at RetroJ, or you can swing by Live and Let's Dice, where I do all my streaming and personal gaming. But before I go, my friends, I just want to say one thing. There's always one incredibly smart thing that you can do, and that is be kind to yourself, both mentally and physically, because you deserve love, happiness and success, my friend. We all do as human beings. I hope that you achieve your goals today. Now go out there and absolutely smash them, you big ledge. As always, I've been Jules. You have been awesome. Never forget that, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.